Welcome to Harmonized. I am your host, Gigi Naval, integrative and functional registered dietitian nutritionist, here to help you harmonize your gut and hormone health for improved metabolic health. Have you heard of the gut-skin axis? Well, if you have, that's great. And if you haven't, I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how that is related to acne. But first of all, let me say this. I am not a dermatologist, but being a registered dietitian who practices with a functional medicine and nutrition approach, I do have something to say about this. And let's start off with my story. In high school, acne wasn't really a problem. But then for graduation, someone gave me a gift set, a skincare gift set. And I welcomed it. I thought, well, now that I am going to be in college, I need to be sophisticated with my skincare routine. But believe me, that skincare set, using that was the beginning of my acne woes. So I jumped from skincare line to skincare line to skincare line. And then in between all that, I was put on every oral antibiotic known to man. What did I say? Oral and topical. Sorry about that. Oral and topical antibiotic known to man to treat acne. None of those helped. And so they put me on Accutane, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. It only worked when I was on it. And once I got off of it, boy, that led to having the acne come back. And those medications also threw my gut community out of balance, in addition to the antibiotics. I didn't know that at that time, and I'm sure none of my practitioners did, so I cannot blame anyone. And when the gut community is thrown out of balance, then that creates inflammation in the GI tract. And then if that's not taken care of, and if the permeability of the gut lining takes place, if it becomes leaky, then that can let the inflammation go out throughout the body. All right. I am happy to say that years later, over 2 decades later, I'm not having issues with my acne anymore. And that's because I had to work on it from a different approach. And I'll get to that later on. But I want to talk about zinc and vitamin A and how those two can be associated with acne if there is not enough intake and the individual has a deficiency of those 2 particular nutrients. Those are not necessarily causations. So when I talk about the deficiency of vitamin Z and vitamin A, oh boy, vitamin Z, where did that come from? When I talk about zinc as a mineral, because it is a mineral, when there's a deficiency there, and vitamin A, those are not the only reasons that, or the 2 things that are associated with acne. They're not causations, but they are associations. There are other nutrients that are also involved, but I want to talk about these 2 in particular. Again, keep in mind, I'm not talking causation, I am talking association. So the literature is very robust in showing us that zinc deficiency is associated with acne. Zinc deficiency is, as well as vitamin A. So we cannot argue with that. When it comes to acne, inflammation is very much going through the skin, going through the body. And zinc is anti-inflammatory. So if one has acne and there's not enough zinc on board, then that can exacerbate the acne situation. Zinc is anti-inflammatory. And so it's very helpful in managing the swelling, the redness, the pain that might come with acne at times. And when there's enough zinc on board, it is able to inhibit the cytokines. Cytokines, they are pro-inflammatory. And Cytokines are these signaling molecules that promote inflammation. So if there's enough zinc on board, it can inhibit that. It can inhibit the cytokines and help bring down inflammation. Another thing about zinc is that it is involved with the sebaceous gland. It's one of those elements that can help manage the sebum oil. And if there's an excess of the sebum oil, that means the sebaceous gland is overactive, and that can contribute to clogging up the pores of the skin, contributing to the acne. But when there's enough zinc on board, it is able to help manage the serum oil by way of testosterone, because minerals are also in connection with our hormones. They are the spark plugs of our hormones. And so zinc works with testosterone. So if there's a good amount of zinc, then that can also help manage the testosterone level, and the testosterone can then help with this particular area of managing the sebum oil. Okay. All right. So another area is that when it comes to zinc, it is antibacterial. And there is a particular bacteria, one of several, but this particular bacteria is called Cutibacterium acnes. And if this is elevated, this contributes to acne. And the good thing about zinc, when you have enough zinc on board, it can help kill off the excess amount of this particular bacteria. That's amazing, right? How this one mineral can help in different areas when it comes to acne. Now, here's the thing. Some people have a gene variation to zinc, and it's very important for them to obtain their zinc from high bioavailable sources, such as chicken, turkey, beef. And if these individuals have this gene variation and they're not consuming enough high bioavailable zinc, then yes, their acne can be exacerbated. Now, when it comes to vitamin A is also so imperative in having good skin health. So when one has acne, it exacerbates the situation. But here's the thing, when an individual has a gene variation of the gene that is working with vitamin A, and that is called the BCMO1 gene, then there can be issues there. The original or the regular gene version of BCMO1, the gene that works with vitamin A, it says, okay, you're eating carrots, and I'm going to take the inactive form of beta carotene and I will convert that to the active form of vitamin A, which is called retinol. So the inactive form is beta carotene, and it converts it to the active form called retinol, and that's the form that our body likes to use. But if the individual has a gene variation and they're just eating plants and relying on the beta carotene there, they are at risk of having a vitamin A deficiency because they're not able to get the active form of vitamin A that our body really needs. Okay, so here's the situation with me. I have both a zinc gene variation as well as a vitamin A gene variation. So I was a vegetarian from when I was 15 to 30, and that put me in a state of copper dysregulation. If you're not consuming enough high bioavailable zinc, that tips off copper, and then there ends up being a lot of unbound copper floating through the body, and that also contributes to inflammation in the body. Okay, so it was very helpful for me because I have those two gene variations to add meat back. But I also worked on rebalancing my gut community. I addressed my minerals, and I worked on balancing my blood sugars as well as eating according to my nutrition-related gene variations. That's what has helped me. And let me share with you that one of my students who graduated a couple of years ago came to our program as someone who practiced consuming 100% plant-based meals. And during that first year, she did complete her nutrigenetic testing, got her results, and she really analyzed it and thought about it and really thought about her health and its implications to her own health. And at the end of her second year, prior to the beginning of her third year, during the program, during the nutrition and dietetics program, she decided to start adding back animal products to her meals. Now, for a while, for the most part, I did see her having acne. And a few months into consuming more animal products, she did say and tell me, guess what? My skin has cleared up. I noticed it as soon as she walked in, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want her to feel bad. I didn't want her to know that I had noticed that she has had acne for the time that she's been with us, but I noticed that it had cleared. And I was so happy for her, and I let her know that. I was excited with her. And then several more months later, in a class of one of my colleagues, she shared with her classmates that she had an eye condition, and it finally resolved. And that was because she started adding animal products. And guess what? She also has a vitamin A gene variation as well as a zinc gene variation. So adding back those animal products really helped her out. And that's what I love to do when I help all of my clients. I help them with what I did for myself. I like to help them in rebalancing their gut community. I like helping them identify what their mineral imbalances are. I like helping them with rebalancing their blood sugars and eating according to their nutrigenetics. Because God made us all differently. And when we understand the blueprint and how He made us in particular, then we can adjust what we eat and what we need to do in order to thrive in all aspects of our health. Okay, friend, in all that we do and all that we eat and drink, let us do it all for the glory of God. The Harmonized podcast will take a break for a couple weeks. When I'm back, I'll start my new series on minerals. These are our spark plugs for gut and hormone health. In the meantime, chat with me over at Instagram.